Well, before we get started with formal celebrations, I'm hoping that both Dr. Fieser and Ms. Pierce would open our meeting with a few remarks. Dr. Fieser?
I arranged the props. But I want to diminish the role of windows, because the truth of the matter is, it's not an easy job. But all kidding aside, I'm delighted to be here. First of all, I want to thank Kanika Minolta for hosting this event. We are delighted to come out and be here again. We've used your facility many times, so thank you very, very much for that. I really also want to thank all of the businesses, those business representatives that are here today and those that are not, because the truth of the matter is without the partnership with the businesses, none of us would be sitting here. The businesses have been so supportive of the Windsor Public Schools, unbelievably so. And I talk with colleagues of mine, and we are the envy of many, many school systems with respect to the kind of partnerships that we have. I also want to thank the businesses for your willingness to invest in the learning of both of our students and as well as our teachers, and your willingness to open up your doors and invite our teachers in to come spend time so that they can actually see what happens at the work site and learn what kind of skills are demanded for people to be successful in your work sites and be able to take that information back and incorporate that into their teaching. That's just tremendous. I mean, we talk about the fact that we feel that we're practitioners in education as opposed to people in higher ed who are not the practitioners, who are actually working with students day in and day out. Well, for our teachers, your folks are the practitioners for us, because our kids are going to be leaving and they're going to be hopefully joining the workforce at some point. Hopefully many of them in Windsor. And so what we want to do is to make sure that what we're doing is preparing our students in the best way that we can so that you will turn to our students for your future workforce. And the fact that you've opened your doors to invite our teachers in is just remarkable, and I know that the hope is on the part of the School Business Partnership to even expand that kind of program such that it would move beyond 1 or 2 days, and maybe down the road in the future we could even do some summer internships. I know that the group has spoken about that. So I can't thank you enough for what you have done for us. It's just taken us to another level with respect to the kind of education that our teachers have received, as well as the kind of education that our students are receiving because of their learning. Finally, I want to thank both the Chamber of Commerce and also the School Business Partnership. I think back to 4 years ago, this was non-existent. The School Business Partnership didn't exist, and certainly what we're celebrating today was only, I think, a pipe dream of Deb's, who had not yet been hired. And so her coming in and then working side by side with the Chamber and creating the School Business Partnership has really enabled this to happen. And so I want to pay tribute to the Chamber in particular and the Business Partnership itself. Many of the people are here, and there are many people who are not, but the partnership is what really made this happen, and I'm greatly appreciative. So thank you very much. Paula.
Down to the 5-foot person up here. Well, I'm very happy to be here today to talk to you about the REAL program and to celebrate its 3-year success. Hopefully it will be a long-running program, as it is a great example for other towns, other school systems and chambers throughout the state and really the country. You may know that the main goal of the Chamber is to support local business and therefore support the entire community. And education is such a huge part of that, of course, that we're proponents of education and trying to have programs and materials and things to support the educational community whenever we can. We're fortunate, of course, as Betty mentioned, to work, well, as I will mention, to be able to work with open-minded school administrators who see the intrinsic value in the business community and the amount of information they do have to share. We're also lucky to have such open-minded teachers who allow themselves to be immersed in the workforce and workplace of an industry in their field of expertise. We're also, of course, very appreciative of the businesses themselves who allowed the teachers into their facilities to explain and share their viewpoints on how their business and industries are evolving so that, of course, they can go back and spread that information to the students. It's a rare thing to be able to be a part of a program like this that brings two disparate groups like education and business together. And with the great result of having a great benefit to the future business and community leaders, our students of today in Windsor. So thank you very much for your participation, and we hope that this program will continue to grow.
Well, this meeting wouldn't be complete, I don't think, unless I gave you a brief update on what we did this year. But, you know, as I was preparing my thoughts for this, somehow the idea came into my mind of a saying that was quoted by Hillary Clinton many times, the idea that it takes a whole village to raise a child. So, being, you know, an educator and being interested in research, I started Googling. Well, let me tell you, 1,190 hits, or 90,000 hits later, and looking through not that many of them, but I tried, I found that there's no definitive source for that quote. You know, in some sources they indicated that it was an ancient African saying. Others indicated that it was a saying from the Omahas, a Native American tribe. Some went back to some 1950s children's book. In the end, what it told me was this is a concept that permeates many, many different cultures. And what that says to me is it's an essential truth, and many different cultures find a way of saying it in their own words. It takes everyone to raise our kids. And that's what this program is all about. Businesses and schools raising the kids here in Windsor. We're the village, and this is the type of work that we do together. Toward that, what does that have to do with the work that we did this year? Well, on election day, we had 21 teachers going out at 17 different business sites. Teachers went to the site, came back to school, and did appropriate revisions to their curriculum that incorporated the knowledge that they gained that day. On Job Shadowing Day in April, we had 96 students visiting 34 different business and industry sites. Very impressive, I think. Throughout the year, we had individual job shadowing going on. We had guest speakers coming into multiple different classrooms. We had a number of different field trips where the kids got to go to the business sites. Overall, very busy year. And then to top it off, Dr. Ross Gary asked the Real Subcommittee to go to I hope I don't get the name wrong, Connecticut College, too many C's.
Connecticut Career Pathways Conference.
Thank you. And we were asked to share what we do here in the REAL program with our colleagues in the state. So I take that as evidence that what we're doing is on the right path and should be shared with others. I think we're really doing good work here. But it was very busy, I must tell you. But if we look back at the REAL program, I could talk to you about it, but we have a couple of minutes, and I think what would really be more important would be to hear from a participant or two to say exactly what it meant to them. And to that, I asked Diana Manor, who is a family and consumer science teacher at the high school, to just tell us a little bit of what it was like for her. Diana?
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here. This is a wonderful way to celebrate this afternoon. I was given the opportunity to visit a business in Hartford called Japanalia, which is a company that is a fashion design and manufacturing business. I wasn't really sure what to think at first. I looked it up on the web, found out a little bit about the business before I went, and I was so impressed with a small business and the magnitude of garments that they produce, and the number. It was incredible. It's basically a one-man show, and I learned a variety of techniques that he uses to cut multiple garments at the same time. Not with lasers, not with some of the high technology. This is a small individual business owner. I was able to climb up on the table and help cut some of the things and help line up patterns and put pieces together. I watched him construct garments in a flash. He uses a particular type of serging to create the seams. I learned more about how I can use our sergers at school and encourage our students to kind of expand what they already do. He made this beautiful jacket, honestly, in 15 minutes. It was really a sight to see. Not only did I learn some more advanced techniques that I have been able to teach my students, but just visiting a business and seeing how successful an individual can be in that type of industry, it was an excellent opportunity, and I have shared a lot of the information, knowledge, and just about the business and the skill. So I am very thankful for that.
As many of you here, the next business that we will call up has been a participant in receiving our teachers since the initiation 3 years ago as part of the School Business Partnership and on the REAL Committee. And Mark Walker is here to represent Windsor Federal Savings and say a few words. Mark?
Good afternoon. When we talk about a real celebration, whenever we put students together with any type of business, and since I'm in the field of banking, especially banking, I think that's a celebration in itself right there. Usually when you look at banking, the first thing you think about, just the traditional tellers and handling of cash. But with the students, when they came to visit Windsor Federal, we actually took them into the loan department and our customer service department. And there, they had a quite different experience. Most people always ask, what about samples? You give out new samples. But what we do, we give a great experience of the back operations and the work that's entailed in the loan area and the customer service department. There were many questions the students asked, and they came up with a great sense of, better sense of understanding on the work that's involved, the amount of work, the expectations, and also, the camaraderie that you have with co-workers, but, it's a work environment. So it was a great experience for the students. They seemed to take a lot with them from what they've learned, and also, I believe the employees themselves had a great time working with them as well. So, Windsor, we have our doors